Well, we came up with ideas. We said, okay, well, what can you do if you're unemployed to kind of do this? And she came up with some great ideas. We formulated, here's our pitch, dating tips for the unemployed. We sent it out over a wire service that goes out to all these talk shows. Good Morning America called. Hey, we need a dating expert. Rachel Ray called. Hey, we need a dating expert. So they called her. Now, the honest truth is, they wanted her to be talking about dating tips for Valentine's Day. They didn't even use our great pitch. The great pitch got them through, but then we had to play ball and go with dating tips for Valentine's Day. But that's sort of the hardcore reality. And when, it's like the right to here's what Alexander Hamilton said: the right to a free press belongs to the person that owns the press. So you've got to kind of know what they're doing and kind of play ball with them if you want things to go.
That's definitely a good point.
Yes. But I mean, it doesn't mean you have to completely lose your integrity. I mean, that's what your publicist is for.
Exactly.
He's the one that loses the integrity.
I know, like a lot of times we have talked about this. I have a little trouble sometimes pitching my ideas to the media.
Right.
And the reason why is because I kind of meditate on it. I have a big ass vision, and then I don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the laughing track. There was an actual person laughing there.
Yeah, and there was a publicist cringing.
So what are ways that I can be myself, be transparent, and also utilize the media?
I do believe that being yourself is an important thing. I have a client who's going to be doing a cooking segment on Saturday, and he's a curmudgeon. He's a real, it's supposed to be about cooking pumpkin pie using leftover pumpkins, and he doesn't want to do that because he's a cooking expert, and he's saying, you don't want to use a pumpkin that's been sitting there for 2 weeks. I'm not going to do this. And I'm like saying, they understand that. Here, just show how to make the pumpkin. But they're going to think that, no. And so he's all nervous now that he's going to be on TV, and I'm telling him, no, the grouchy aspect will work because it's real, and it'll make it exciting TV. At the same time, you have to be prepared to fit in this segment. A lot of what people make the mistake sometimes with pitching is giving too much information. When I first started, I made the point of I had a client that handled a medical thing, and so I sent the pitch. The person was, I sent a short pitch explaining the procedure, made it kind of funny, made it kind of clever, and the TV people were interested. But then on the client's behest, I sent over additional studies and information and technical shit. And the journalist basically said, no, this is too much. I don't need to be inundated with an email. No. So the thing is, especially when you're dealing with TV people, newspaper people may want more information because hopefully they think you're going to write their article for them, which happens more often than not. The PR person supplies all this information, and the journalist just cuts and pastes and then collects the Pulitzer. In the case of TV, simple is better. If you can get it down into 4 or 5 lines and something that makes it really attractive, and a lot of times it's like the whole big picture. TV is looking for drama. Sometimes, like some of the ideas that you've given, they sound really great on one level, but let me use a metaphor. B.B. King used to when B.B. King was starting out, he sat on the street corner singing gospel because he thought that's what people wanted to hear, God's word speaking to him and everything. And and everyone would come by and they'd nod their head, oh, what a good boy, he's doing God's work. Meanwhile, the guy down the street was playing hard gut bucket blues about how his woman left him, as just basically screwed by life. That guy was making bank. That guy had his whole hat filled out. And it's because people can focus on like a real story rather than things being really good. It's another case. Let me use another example. Dante, everyone knows Dante's Inferno. They don't remember his heaven, and they don't remember his description of purgatory. But his hell, his horrific expressions of hell, everything, fire, brimstone, everything, those have relevance today, whereas nobody really remembers heaven. And the fact is, it's a lot easier to focus on something that's bad than it is to focus on something good. So if you're going to pitch something that's good, pitch the negative element first, the tragedy, the bad stuff, and then do the solution. Now, a lot of times people, everybody knows the 5 W's of journalism: who, what, where, when, why, and how. And those are good, but they don't really build up a narrative. If to get media interested, you have to build up a narrative. And the way to do that is doing something called the GOSS formula. That's GOSS. That means when you're trying to come up with an idea for a story, think of the goal, think of the obstacle, think of the solution, and think of what you need to start to having the solution. But you don't want to have the start or the solution before the obstacle. You got to have the obstacle. It's like you've got to put that in there. So that, I mean, there's an old saying: if it bleeds, it leads. Put the obstacle up first, and then people will see the solution. I mean, that's the whole thing of drama. That's what, and if you're providing the journalists with the drama, journalists make it sound like, oh, they want the facts. No, they want a story. I'm getting a lot of, it's if you can give them good stories, if you can give them good quotes, if you can give them something that's going to be funny and entertaining or something, and yes, have the troops, have the women, have the dogs, and have the kids. You got to have a narrative as well.
Nice. I know somebody that started a group called the Hurricane of Gratitude.
Okay, the hurricane's good. That's the obstacle.
Yes.
The gratitude is got to be the after thing. So you got to focus on the hurricane. The hurricane, the storm, the boom, the storm dives, Yes. Then the gratitude.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
So basically in this group, they were able to get a Facebook group that grew to a large point, and it's all in the name of people posting videos about gratitude.
Right.
And even in this time when we're talking about this and teaching it, I'm going to tag this on my Facebook group of us talking about the group. Okay. What are some other ideas of how they can do that?
Okay, the thing is that gratitude comes after. Okay, no one is born with gratitude. You've got to have something happen to you, and you go through the fire, and then go, whoo, boy, I'm grateful I'm alive. So what they need to do is focus on when do people feel gratitude? When they experience a very, very dangerous or very extreme emotion, and then they feel grateful that they made it. So that hurricane aspect, what did they go through? And then they feel the gratitude. So in other words, don't put the gratitude first. Focus on the narrative. Like, the person who, oh man, I had to do this, training video for YouTube for my friend Steve, and it was so nervous being filmed, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I was babbling stuff off the top of my head. But man, I was sure grateful when it was over. So you see, there's a narrative there. And I think what the hurricane, the people... hurricane is a great metaphor. Emphasize the hurricane. The gratitude comes after, and you'll feel better about it.
Nice. I've noticed a lot of, building off what you're saying, I've noticed a lot of conscious people that I deal with that are my clients. Yeah. They're afraid to do videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because a lot of them are telling the same story over and over again, or they think that, like some of the African tribes back in the day, they think that their evil spirit's going to be taken away by having themselves on video.
I wish my evil spirit would be taken away now.
Their spirit, not their evil spirit. Okay. But yeah, your evil spirit, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
If this camera could do that.
Well, so the thing is, a lot of times this happens with media, with people, like one of the big mistakes that people sometimes make when they're doing an interview, somebody will say, well, can you tell me how to save the children with, how 1 drop of water a day can save the children? Well, you'll have to read my book to find out. People get afraid of giving information. And, the thing is, I say it's okay to give away information. Like right now, I'm a PR professional. I'm giving you gold. I'm giving you gold here. And, yet at the same time, I'm not worried that somehow you're going to come over and take over me, because when you dig for gold and give other people the gold, you get more gold back to you. I think when you're giving when you give out information, more information comes to you to help fill that out. So don't be afraid of YouTube. Don't be afraid that somehow someone's going to steal this and take that, because it's more of a matter of sharing. In the case of PR, puppet theater, the thing that I did, I gave away